Good evening to all of you, and welcome to the 19th Leadership Levels lecture by Nitya Ganapathy. And maybe I don't know if some of you had the time to browse through what her work is, and especially in Nei Native, as well as her interesting profile. But just to give you a background about her career, very illustrious career, about 22 years. And she started with Benedict Coleman Company Limited as assistant manager, and where she has grown to be the national vertical head for response. Response is that's the one that creates a pipeline, a cash pipeline for the entire group. And she has been a stellar performer there. And she has been with BCCL for almost, if I'm right, it is almost about close to about 15 years. And in between, she also has been with three other media and entertainment companies. First, it was with Viacom 18 Media Limited, Private Limited, as director. Then TV Today Network as a general manager. I think all her career, she has been only with the media and entertainment industry, and she graduated from the prestigious Lady Shriram College of Commerce, and she also has done a 1-year PGPM, that is postgraduate program in media and entertainment management from SPJMR. I think during pandemic is when I think she has hatched the plan along with her daughter as well as a wonderful mother. I think about this the recipe of how do you take this quote unquote, the retro part of it to a larger scale. And she has started this wonderful initiative. I'm sure she's going to share with us, two interesting things as the title of this program in details you entrepreneurial careers for the career, the second pillars for career, the second career. And I'm sure you will get to hear from her the kind of work that has gone in, all that we get to study in different programs and different management programs is going to be coming in our way in just about next few minutes. I think that's going to be the next 45 minutes of a concentrated way of learning, almost like a mini MBA, I would say, definitely as a part of entrepreneurial journey as well. And I'm sure each one of us will have like everything there, very interesting and very inspiring perspectives on how we can manage our careers, because I'm sure each one of us might have a choice to make at some age and stage of a career about switching of the career to not necessarily in the professional world but also entrepreneurial world. I think that's where we will have great learning. And thank you so much Nitya, for taking your time out, especially on a Saturday evening, right? And then we'll be honored to have your insights about the way you have chopped out your journey, and also the way you have looked at from the point of view of shifting career from very illustrious professional career to entrepreneurial journey. And it will be a great pleasure to have you. And over to you, Nitya.
Thank you so much, and good evening, everyone. It's really such a pleasure, Dr. Chaudhary. It's great that you invited me. It's such a bright and lovely audience. I'll tell you what, I mean, you really said it. It is a second career. Honestly, stumbled upon it. It was not planned. And, so what I'll actually do is, let me just share my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, maybe you can put in the view mode.
Yeah,
That would be good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's been about 22 long years in the media, and like I said, I think in fact till last April or even May last year, I was not even thinking of an entrepreneurial venture in that sense. So the first 3 to 4 months actually were, I would say, completely dedicated to exploring the authenticity and identifying the sort of a need gap that really exists in the Indian superfood space. And like I said, it was completely unplanned. I really stumbled upon it. Also because we have the farm in Vikramgarh, so that really was an impetus to actually make the start, because otherwise investments in something like this is can be massive. It can really be a non-starter in that sense. So since that was already there, is what really led to this, I think, combined with a traditional recipe, which I'll really come to. So this deep dive is what actually led to Nei Native being born. And, I'll take you through a very arduous, but a very, very satisfying journey of ours by highlighting the entrepreneurial pillars in traditional Indian superfoods. So, when you see something like this, we truly are a diverse culture, but the point is, I think we are so colorful. We are such a diverse set of people in the country, but everything really revolves around food, either at home or at a community level, right? So it's all about lavish spreads. Any occasion that you have, it could be a wedding, it could be a birthday, it could be a festival. It's all about foods. So the thing is that social media, and specifically I would say Insta, which our very young audience, our youth is hooked on to. Chances are that every second post you see is on something mouth-watering in terms of cuisine, foods, and they look so aesthetically tempting, right? The way it's presented, the way they make it, it's sort of Pavlovian, drool worthy in that sense, right? So and the food delivery apps, curated and personalized experiences that the market is creating for you. There are food stylists, there are food bloggers, there's flea markets, there's bazaars. I think almost every society, every WhatsApp group is sort of sharing recipes. And I think somewhere the pandemic has made master chefs out of almost everyone. Even if it doesn't taste good, at least on the videos, it looks great, right? So the options are staggering, and I think the industry figures are also equally staggering. So, there's already been an explosion of brands which are joining the bandwagon, and it is bursting at the seams, with no pun intended, space. So, but we are India, right? And we always have space for more. It's never a problem. And just for an instance, if you see one of these posts that we put up on Holi, it was an Insta post, and we got as many orders. And the gujia, the sweet that you see here, was uh, just to give the sales, or an impetus for the brand Nei Native. But people actually started calling and ordering for the gujia because it looks so delectable. So we got as many orders for the sweet as we did for the ghee. So my whole point is that, great looking, stylized food is something that's totally irresistible. But the point is that, while we are spoiled for choice, are we really making the right choice? Because, after all, it is a consumables category, and what you, what and why and how much you consume really is paramount, right? Especially it's going into your body. So it's important because, and that actually brings me to a sort of a dichotomy that, and I would say some sort of a split personality that exists in all of us, because especially when it comes to relationship with food and health, we make New Year resolutions, and most times it's broken in the first 3 to 4 weeks. And I'll go to the gym, I'll lose weight, I'll go low on sugar, carbs, I'll eat right, all of that. So, but the good thing is that the last 2 years, I think, has somewhere aided us in keeping that promise, because immunity building, wellness, nutrition has been a focus now like never before. And uh, the thing is that while India has so many indigenous things to offer, be it handloom, yoga, sari, tourism, languages, music, art. Uh, it's because it's not just a passing fad or for a snob value, but it's just that we really have that kind of embodiment of rich culture and thriving tradition. But there is one thing that sets food and superfoods apart, and that is that every Indian is consuming at least one Indian food in a day, if I were to put it that way. So almost every day you're consuming something that's Indian if you're living here, you know. And what can be better if you're consuming what is locally grown, locally sourced? that is really native to us. It's from our own soil, or natural to our terrain, right? And then, of course, once it's sourced, it also needs to be made or cooked the right way. So, we all enjoy these gourmet delights from across the world. And, that really can't be our staple. So it's like, a Scandinavian will never have a mango as a staple. Neither would we have, blueberries every day as a staple, right? You'll enjoy it once in a while. So I think the timing is sort of right for us, not just to rediscover all the goodness that traditional Indian foods and superfoods have to offer, but also to market it and price it right, because that's sort of critical, you know. So what is it that traditional Indian superfoods do for us and do to us? And the first and foremost is that they induce huge amounts of nostalgia, and in equal measure they offer innumerable health benefits. And now both these pillars, combined with the ease of buying, D2C, online, offline, all of these three pillars is what makes a great case for long forgotten traditional Indian superfoods to not just resurrect, but to also flourish. So these are actually the three main pillars that Nei Native's business idea is also based on. And just touching upon each of the pillars, and the one that is first and foremost is really nostalgia, which is a time that you want to go back to, reminiscing childhood memories. It's sort of a bittersweet tugging at heartstrings, right? So it's sentimental, but again, what's happened due to COVID in the last 2 years is nostalgia is not limited to adults, or to a time once upon a time really long back. Because even teenagers refer to pre-pandemic as something that they miss, right? And even something as recently as 2019 is something that we seek fondly. So, COVID may end, but, there is some sort of an undefinable loss that can't be measured or indeed expressed beyond the point. So, the thing is that we have a couple of recent instances. I just want to, share these as an example. We had these lovely flowers, mogras, which bloomed at our home in Bombay, and my daughter immediately was like, it smells like a Chennai wedding. So, for a 13-year-old to sort of, who's attended so many family events, etc., to suddenly think about this and talk about the last wedding which happened in the family, and, wanting to sort of associate with that was very evident. And similarly, these mahua flowers at the farm, these had just fallen on the ground. And, I'd sent this picture on a WhatsApp group in college. And one of them was like, can you please bottle it up and sort of get it back? Because I've not I'm from Bihar or whatever, and I've not just smelled this for the longest time, so actually bottled it and sent it to her. So you want life in the slow lane, etc., etc., right? So that is what nostalgia is, and the way we define nostalgia for Nei Native is exactly this, and you'll see this in every jar of ours. The first spoon of Nei Native Desi Ghee is the most powerful. Besides the homemade goodness that fortifies your immunity, it instantly brings alive something that sleeps within you. Long forgotten memories of that old dining table, of siblings as kids, of a much younger Ma, of Sunday morning brunches. Ghee will never mean the same after that first spoon. So ghee is just so quintessentially, Indian and unique to our subcontinent. A true superfood and a household staple for generations, right? It's nothing new. But it wouldn't be wrong for us to actually say that it's not just Bollywood and cricket which unite us. I think ghee should, be added to that list. But the thing is that when why was Nei Native really born when the product is a kitchen essential, and the market is already flooded with so many brands. It's a highly competitive market. And, the fact is that ghee making is actually an art, and may I say it's a lost art. And the process of making it is very cumbersome, it's laborious, it's time consuming, and especially when it's made regularly and in very, very large quantities. So the process is even more complex and tedious when it comes to this so-called Bologna method, which is the cultured ghee method. And hectic schedules, nuclear families over the years have led to ghee not being really made at home, and even if it is, it's made in very small quantities. And that has given rise to a highly competitive market where you will actually find ghee that ranges from rupees 400 to rupees 4,000 for 1 liter. And you'll get the works, you'll get organic, A2, A1, cow, buffalo, you even get camel, goat. There's an entire variety and range that you get. However, what you will not get is the real homemade, handcrafted sort of ghee, which will take you down this, once upon a time nostalgia lane. And, that is the one and only USP that really Nei Native has, because of its, it's a very nutty aroma. And I truly believe that I think 50% of a ghee's success is in the aroma, and then of course the flavor and the texture. So that granular texture and that nutty flavor, it should not be buttery, it should be a little more than that. And the secret to this nostalgia inducer is really a family recipe that goes back over generations, and it's now sort of getting rediscovered by Nei Native patrons. And the testimony to this sort of a perfection of a recipe, if I may say, is can be seen in every individual, irrespective of state, a region, a religion, community, wherever he belongs in India or the Indian diaspora, who has with one whiff been sort of teleported to his childhood. And I would actually say the only competitor to this kind of a ghee is your own mother or your own grandmother. you know so the in a matter of about 3-4 months, wherein we were still in the proof of concept stage, I would say, uh, uh, evoked such strong responses and such powerful emotions and sentiments. We today have more than 4,000 consumers and a very, very high repeat purchase, because I think we really struck the right chord with this personally made small batches. In fact, even in our label, we actually write that each batch may be a little different because it's not mass manufactured. So you will find nuances every time, because if you're expecting a similar ghee every time, while the aroma, taste, texture will remain the same, the each batch will be a little different because it's made with hand. So in fact, we even had one consumer who said, her mother passed away some 6-8 months back, and she had this and she was completely very, very emotional after having this. So that's the kind of reactions that we've had to this. And coming to the second pillar, it's the health benefits of I think A2 cultured ghee are just too many to actually enumerate. And I think our discerning consumer sort of is very aware of what A2 is and what cultured ghee is, and why it is the best superfood for the entire family. It pans across life stages, I would say. It's great for a toddler, because, your first meal, solid meal in your 6 months, when a child crosses 6 months, you usually give rice, dal, and a little bit of ghee. So it's also auspicious. It's great for youngsters, teens, adults, senior citizens, expecting mothers, new mothers, right? So it's great across life stages. It strengthens the immune system, of course, great for digestion, weight control. It's actually good cholesterol. So, if people think that, my God, ghee is going to make me put on weight, actually, that's not true. And really depends on what kind of ghee you're having, right? So, of course, you can't have 5-6 spoons every day, then there's a problem. And it's, of course, it's rich in terms of antioxidants, nutrients, great for your skin, hair, all of it. But I keep reiterating the fact, Dr. Chaudhary, that it has to be made the right way. And that is what really I'm coming to. Like I said, you get an entire range, but what is this A2 is, it's not a passing fad. It's a truism. And the fact is, you have A1, which is your it's both are actually beta casein proteins. And the thing is that A2 is most natural to the human body, and it's also easily absorbed. The A1 milk from where A1 ghee is made is usually, a genetically modified strain of cow, like your Holstein, Jersey, etc. And hence they are actually bred to give in pursuit of, I would say, better productivity, and hence cheaper cost. So because they produce about 20 liters of milk per day or more, while the A2, which is indigenous to India, Africa, etc., they actually don't produce more than 7 to 8 liters a day. So, the superior quality of the milk is actually what translates into this Bologna method that we talk about. So if you actually look at the process, this labor intensive process, it actually starts with procuring the full cream A2 milk, and this milk is converted into curd. It is actually set overnight, and I would say that then this is made into ghee, which is from the curd, and that is what the Bologna process is. And it takes about 25 to 30 liters of full cream milk just to make 1 jar of ghee. So you can imagine the effort that actually goes into it. And ghee has been ghee making has been a family ritual for generations, and it needs a naturally quiet, peaceful environment. So it's actually made at 4:35 in the morning, because the yield is also very, very good at that time of the morning. Least distractions, least disturbances. It's almost, I'd like to say, it's a meditative process. And each jar is personally made. Every step of the Bologna process is supervised, and it's made in small batches in the farm at Vikramgarh. So there is no use of machinery except, I think, putting the label and sealing the bottle. And the benefits actually, I would say, A2 milk was first popularized in Australia and New Zealand by a lot of companies, and then it actually got to be popularized as A2 milk, and hence A2 ghee. This third pillar, of course, extremely important, because you may have the best product, you may have, you can keep saying I'm the best, but if your marketing and your distribution is not, in place, it's extremely, difficult to actually then, really market the ghee. Then it will remain a mom and pop kind of a venture. So yeah, India is the largest consumer of ghee, although the market is even larger considering the Indian diaspora, the Middle East, Southeast Asia, which also have a very, very high, large ghee culture, so to say. So the ghee market in India is actually valued at about 260,000 crores. It's a huge market, but but it's only 500 crores, which is A2 cultured cow ghee market, and we're poised to explode at more than 15%. Which is why you see so many brands which are actually joining this, but it's a tough task to actually make this kind of ghee. So a lot of them actually fall out somewhere, because it's not easy to sustain this. But the good thing is that more and more consumers are understanding the benefits of A2 cultured cow ghee and its benefits compared to regular ghee. And which is why I say that, premium here does not mean expensive. It's actually the quality, especially when it comes to pure ghee. So, I would say almost, 99% of the ghee brands that you get in the market are mass manufactured and not A2. So it's a machine that takes out the cream. It's a creamery, or it's called the creamification method. It is not the Bologna method. So, and like I said, it's about 25 liters that takes to make a full jar. So, you know, uh, ease of buying, of course, I mean, while you need to be present across multiple platforms, about, I would say, almost 80 to 85% of our revenue comes from our own website, D2C, which is neinative.com, where the entire range of superfoods is available. Of course, our hero product is the A2 cultured cow ghee. And while the highest consumer base is from here, of course we are present. You can't not be present on Amazon. So you're on Amazon. We're starting Big Basket from next week, and we are in a whole host of other niche e-commerce websites, Goki, Wellburst, etc., One Green. And we currently cater to more than 4,000 customers, and we have a huge repeat rate of 40%. It was 35 till March, and in May we are at a repeat rate of 40%. And of course, we are also present on modern retail through a Big Bazaar, through Nature's Basket across the country. They have about 35 stores, so we are present there. And we are present in about 40 plus artisanal and gourmet stores in Bombay. We've just 2 months back also launched in Delhi, and about 3 weeks back we also launched in Pune. So the thing is that there is a sales and subscription model that happens on our own website. Of course, your Google, SEO, SEM, the works, all of that is there. Strategic tie-ups happen, RWA activation, kiosks, samplings, flea markets, farmers markets, small packs, sampling we even do at restaurants and cafes, etc. But I'm going to touch upon this bit in a bit of detail, Dr. Chaudhary, because I think this is what really defined us, and this is what I think it was a calculated. It was a huge risk, but I think it was a calculated risk which paid off, and that is why I want to dwell on this. So while on paper, I'm the sole founder. Nei Native is actually, I would say, a family enterprise in the true sense, because a lifetime ritual of making ghee at home led to many more jars of it being made, and the creator was my mother. And the second product, filter coffee powder, was actually sort of curated by my dad. And he's really a coffee aficionado. And of course, the name Nei Native itself was suggested by my daughter. So, Nei is ghee in all the South Indian languages, and native means indigenous. So, Nei Native literally means desi ghee. So, soon about three more family members sort of joined, in the production, got involved in product development, critical analysis, which was very, very important, logistics, accounting. So literally my hall became, we started from home. So the hall became the packaging room. The kitchen was like a production unit. Utility room was more like a warehouse for the first 3 months. My driver managed all the deliveries, inventory management, and the cook and maid pretty much worked overtime, doing packaging and labeling, etc., until we reached some scale. And the entire production facility then moved to the farm. And now we have a small but very robust team comprising a production head, logistics, CRM, brand and e-commerce, and a retail activations manager. But the first step for Nei Native was to have that proof of concept, right? Because without that, it's a non-starter. So, just because we had a bunch of people saying, wow, your ghee is great, doesn't mean anything. And it just can't become an idea can't become a business idea just overnight. So we actually went through an elaborate sampling and a price discovery activity by calling and presenting this product to friends, family, acquaintances, colleagues, ex-colleagues, the works. I think anyone and everyone that we had in our WhatsApp, to mailers, to everything, an inner circle of, I would say, about 1,000 plus people. So, and simultaneously in the next 2 months till about August, September, we spent it in also getting licenses, permissions, procurement, raw material, SKUs, all of it. So, and apart from the digital marketing and all these inner circle of 1,000 people, it was imperative that we reach consumers' homes directly, unknown people, because I can't, again, the inner circle is still an inner circle. So, you had to sort of go to unknown people, and without them sampling Nei Native, they wouldn't know why we claim what we claim, right? So, we decided to embark on a very classical model of door-to-door sampling, which I'm not saying is not done now, but for in the FMCG space is sort of becoming rare. And this was to a specific target group of people living in premium towers in Bombay City. And this kind of an activity is not done consistently and in a very large scale. So that is what we really wanted to do. So more than 8,000 samples were distributed across the Mumbai high rises and gated communities. And I, along with literature, a little sample of some 40 ml ghee jars. And the response that we got was nothing short of euphoric. I mean, because the ghee seemed to remind every sampler wherever he belonged to. I mean, whether it was Chikmagalur or Orissa or Kashmir or the Northeast or the South, it seemed to remind everyone of their grandmother or their mother or their childhood. And this resounding, I think, unanimous response to nostalgia led not just to immediate conversions, but also very high repeat rate of consumers. And this impact of Nei Native is simply in that differentiation, which I keep saying, the aroma, taste, and texture, which seems to sort of wow the consumer. In the first time sale is damn difficult, I must say that. The first time sale is a killer. And I'm at heart, I'm a salesperson, okay? So the first time conversion is really difficult because there are questions on the price. Why is it so expensive? Why can't you do free delivery and all of that? So, but once the first time sale happened, he became a lifetime consumer, he or she. So that was, I think, a winning sort of a formula. And the virality and word of mouth has worked brilliantly, like we couldn't imagine. So, this has sort of also led to a ripple effect where now consumers are sort of hooked from a smaller pack to a larger pack. Frequency is higher. There's a lot of gifting that happens to friends and family, because it's not like giving a box of biscuits or noodles or something. It's those things you can't really gift. But superfoods, traditional superfoods, is something you can gift. So that is what I would say. And of course, a numerous amount of challenges. I'll not even, I mean, every time I think a jar of, within Bombay to send it to someone was fine. But, sending it from Bombay to anywhere outside, when we started shipping across the country, I think even if, and it's a glass jar, even if one jar broke, it really breaks your heart, so that is in a nutshell what we are. And of course, I mean, future plans, there is portfolio expansion, new products, new markets. So Nei Natives is a luxury consumables brand which aims to sort of reinvent long forgotten aromas and flavors, along with their core purity and goodness intact. So, we make different SKUs of the ghee. We also make filter coffee powder. We recently launched the Gir Forest honey, and we are going to go into cold pressed oils, especially the coconut oil to start with. We have peanut butter, so a whole lot of superfoods going to be launched soon. We will be focusing a lot more on our website because D2C actually works best. While all the other arms are important, we want to focus on the D2C aspect. And of course, looking slowly at Dubai as a market, because there's a huge Indian diaspora just waiting to be shipped to. And of course, corporate gifting, strategic partnerships, and tie ups. So that pretty much is where we are right now. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you, Nitya. Amazing stuff. I think amazing stuff. So I think, with your permission, let's dive into the questions.
Sure, sure.
Maybe we'll there right. So we're getting questions from both the chat box as well as Q&A. But right now, let me take from the first question is from Gokul Nitya, and his question is pretty long, but let me read out. Needless to say, food and water are two most basic things of life of our survival. But
Right.
some restaurants and some online food aggregators are purely existing, is put in brackets, using marketing strategies like demand generation for money. Shouldn't there be any regulation? Many delivery partners, like delivery boys,
Hmm.
though make good money, are ill-treated by customers sometimes. Food is also adulterated for ages.
Hmm.
Recipes made just for attracting taste buds, not a real nutrition to value. All junk, no food. What's your take on this? Thank you, Gokul.
Thank you. So I think there were many questions in that one question, Dr.
Right,
Chaudhary.
absolutely.
But I'll tell you what, and see, you're not wrong in what you're saying, but it's a complicated thing to answer. See, on one hand, and I really feel we've become like a discount market. And Dr. Chaudhary, you would know, I mean, in media also, you want everything free. I mean, if it's OTT, you don't, the fact is that there is a price to pay, there is subscription, there is, see, because, I truly believe you want quality. You have to pay the price for that quality, because I'll tell you something, and it's not just in media. The last 1 year, I think, has taught me so much, because actually you're looking at every aspect of a business, right? You're the peon to the CEO. So, while you're right about delivery boys and it's not like that. I'm saying there seems to exist a lacuna in a lot of areas. And what's happening is every, especially the food industry is struggling on margins. Because let me tell you this, why do we actually look at D2C? I want you as a consumer to buy directly from me. You know why? Because the moment you buy from a third party, so whether it's a store or an e-commerce platform, I'm also paying almost 30 to 40% to them. So imagine my margin is also getting squeezed. And hence, what I will do naturally is I will cut costs. I may then cut down on my quality. So because the pressure is there. So hence, D2C actually works best. But, people have to realize that, look, you can have a dalda and a vanaspati. There's nothing wrong in that. And a lot of people do have that. But let me tell you, that will taste like machine oil or cheese oil or whatever you want to call it. It will not taste like ghee. But the price differential is, that's why I said, price differential is not, we should not look at it as expensive. We need to see that everything comes at there is a price that we're paying for the quality. You will get the same product it's like saying you go to a five-star hotel and pay the same price for a cup of tea, right? And you can get the same tea, and the tea on the roadside will be equally good. There's nothing wrong with the tea. And let me tell you, distribution, I have newfound respect for distribution. It is and packaging as an industry, it's a revelation. Believe me, I think Gokul, who addressed this question, it's really, really important to package it well and pack it well. You have to pack it like a mummy by the time it reaches you. So, challenges exist through the entire chain of making it to reaching it to the customers. So, uh,
Thank you, Nitya. I think next question is from Purva Kalita, and his question is, again fairly long, but then let me read out. How can one ensure that a superb idea will translate into a successful business? How do you scale and sustain while ensuring consistent customer experience
yeah.
through quality and competitive pricing? I had stumbled into entrepreneurship with a similar idea of taking people, especially migrants, back to roots by
Hmm.
making traditional food and goods back from hometowns available in cities. However, after 5 years, I quit to come back to a job in 2020. I'm sure, Purba, you'll get back to that with a new experience.
No, I think I think we have to, and I think we need to be in it for the long haul. That's what I would say, because it's a lot of investment at the beginning. I'm not just saying financial; it's a lot of investment in terms of time, energy, and I'm sure you would have done that, Rupa. Uh, somewhere I think we need to give ourselves that little space and time, saying that, hey, you know what, I may not be getting a salary at the end of the month, but I'm doing something that I think makes a difference, and really believe in the product. And I think you just need to have the patience to stick it out for the long haul, because believe me, the marketing investments are a lot more than the top line that you make in the first 1 year at least. I mean, breaking even started just about a month and a half back. So I know how difficult the first year has been, because there are so many hidden expenses that suddenly jump up at you. You're not even prepared for it. You didn't even know it existed, you know. So there's suddenly some food testing that you have to do. You have to do shelf life testing, you have to, and each thing costs money. So, you know, while the consumer at the end of it gets that one product, and you know, we all do that, you get it from Amazon, you just want it to be perfect, but the number of things that go into it, I think, Dr. Chaudhary, it's just about
Must work.
perseverance and patience and just
Right.
sticking to it. Yeah, yeah.
I
And
know.
there's nothing wrong really from a second career going to a third career and going back to a job too. I mean, that's fine too. I think whatever works for each one, right?
I think in the light of all these questions, there is a wonderful help for you coming your way, Nitya. This is a interesting remark from Milind Shinde. He's saying very interesting food line. I'm from logistics field. Maybe I would be able to work out the distribution challenges.
More than happy. More than happy. I'm telling you, it's the easiest to actually make the products. It is most difficult to reach it. You know, the last mile is so difficult. You know, it's quite a task. So more than happy to you know, chat with you outside this.
Now, the next one is from Rakesh, and he's saying it was great to hear how you started small from the home. That is the first step many of us would like to do with courage. Can you please stress on few important do's and don'ts for the first step?
Right. So I think just have a, you know, it's stressful. Okay, it is stressful, but I think first thing is get your finances right, and I really think that is very important. I would say don't borrow money and start anything. You know, start it on your own gumption. Of course, you can, you know, once it reaches a certain, and this is my personal opinion, I'm sure others have different opinions. I would say for me it was very important that, you know, I didn't have loans. You know, I was not borrowing money to actually fund the business, at least not for the, you know, tomorrow if some a fund or some investor comes, I'm not going to say no to that maybe after a year or two. But I'm saying in the beginning I was very clear that I have the financial wherewithal to begin this, because you know, you don't want to put yourself in dire financial conditions. You'd rather than you know, also look be in the current job or go to a great job later. So have the financial fiscal discipline. Don't suddenly get into a you know, sort of a well where you can't just get out of. You know, so that I would say is most important. Second is, I think, also be emotionally strong, because there'll be so many challenges, like I said, you know, completely unknown, completely not in your realm. Like for me, accounting, and you know, you know, just simply following a software to actually do your P&L, daily sales. Because see, this is not a, you know, I'm not in an IT business or something where I have maybe 10 or 15 different clients. I have 4,000 plus clients. So to maintain that, to remarket, to retarget, you know, you really need a great CRM, all of that. So actually, you know, technology is very important. So I think learn technology yourself, even though an agency you may appoint for, say, Google marketing or Amazon marketing. I think you need to figure social media on your own. You need to figure digital media on your own. And there is nothing better than, you know, on the job training. Nothing teaches you better than, you know, when you're doing it on your own. So, you know, I think these two, three things, if you get it right, uh, you know, I think just be a little positive. Yeah, it'll happen.
Absolutely. And this is the next question is from Mr. Anirudh Thakur Nitya. And his question is, in case of expansion, do you see any challenges with the name being Nei, which basically means key?
So the name was a risk. I won't shy away from that, because I thought long and hard, and then I realized that, for the non-South, Nei Native was a curiosity factor, and the South knew what Nei was. So I would say it was a punt. It was not even calculated. It was a risk, but it sort of paid off. So I think I'm going to stick to that. I don't see a problem in expanding. I mean, after 4, 5 years, I may even expand into anything and everything traditional. It need not be only foods, So I think if I can build on my branding a little more, which I've not really been able to do, because I'm more focused on getting the business, established first. There are so many other things to do, but so far so good. I don't think the name has got, if anything, people have been curious, wondering why the name is what it is, and that gives me an inroad to actually explain what it is. So if that person doesn't become a buyer, at least he understands what the name stands for. So at least it opens a conversation, if nothing else.
This is the question from Mr. Balaji Naika, and his question is to focus overseas market, what kind of homework is essential since it's unknown and challenging market?
Yeah, so I would say that I would follow the same path that I followed for on-ground distribution in Bombay, Delhi, and Pune. Uh, the reason being, because we are superfoods, I am not going through a distributor.
Mm.
And I will not even abroad go through a distributor. I will take the long drawn out task. It's a little more laborious and a lot more work, because when you go through a distributor, acha, you have to pay him whatever his commission, and he'll just go all out and do it. But because we are an emotional connect, we are premium, we are luxury, I need to be connected with every retailer, whether it's in India or abroad, or my team needs to be connected with that. So we are taking the same route. Hence, I'm not going through an agent or a middleman, etc. I'm actually speaking to friends in Dubai and family in the US to actually, so it may take me 3 or 6 months, but I'm not in a hurry. I will take that time instead of just, because what happens, Dr. Chaudhary, is that when you just go through the distribution route, you have no control on it yourself. See, it is great if you're present across 6,000 or 30,000 stores across the country. It is fine if it's Amul butter, yeah, because that's available in every store. My brand cannot and should not be available in every store, because it'll lay there, it'll be lying there for a year and nobody is going to buy it. I have to tell that story. And for me, that storytelling becomes important, because that is what connects my premium buyer to this. And my buyers are not, see, I don't want that my buyers are only premium and luxury. I also
Right.
want the aspirational crowd, which wants to move from, say, a small car to a big car, from a 2 bhk to a 3 bhk. You also want that crowd. So I have to connect with them emotionally, and that is why we take a longer time. The same task that I've followed in India is what I'll follow abroad. Of course, I mean, there's an import export license, there is apida, a whole lot of paperwork that needs to be done. But yeah, I'm going through personal connections everywhere, and I think that works for me.
But tell me one thing, Nitya. This is an amazing strategy for sure. But I think largely it suits for when it is for largely for push kind of a market, right?
Yes.
But imagine for a situation, I'm sure that's going to come, and we wish that's going to come very soon, where it's going to be absolutely pull market, where you are inundated with a lot of demand, right?
Yes.
In fact, now maybe I think you're just trying to create the demand. But imagine for a
Yeah.
moment there's already some sort of the captive demand. People are
Yeah.
knowing about the brand that they've experienced, and therefore, let's say there is a pipeline of demand for the next say 8 months, 9 months kind of thing, and therefore. Would in that scenario would this be a limiting factor where you're not reaching through distributors, but you're trying to just reach through D2C or your own person
No,
connect?
so I'm not going to be inflexible.
Okay.
It'll be a great situation to have. Suppose it really, it's a good problem to solve.
I
So
know.
I'm going to be as malleable and as flexible as possible. There is no harm in changing the route. If suppose suddenly it becomes the demand from, see, right now we are at about 2,000 jars a month. If it becomes 20,000 jars a month, then I have to change track. I'd love to change track. because I don't want to sort of limit myself to a mom and pop kind of a store, like I said. Not that there's anything wrong in that,
Mm-hmm.
but if we need to scale up, but my only thing, Dr. Chaudhary, at every step will be to retain the quality, and that is extremely important. Now, what will happen then is that we may not be able to personally supervise every jar. Then I need to create a team where the recipe is shared and it's made at the farm that way, without personal intervention, because at some point I'll have to do that.
No, I think other question, related question, since you're very targeting very right now, maybe about 4,000 consumers, and also out of which I think about 1,600, maybe about 40% of them are
Yeah.
repeat customers, which is amazing statistic to have. But I think you had the focus group or discussion with them, maybe there's some sort of pilot testing with it for 40 ml bottles and all that.
Right.
Now, I think that's the time when you had the, like you, of course, you said, you had this euphoric moment. So you could get the feedback immediately, because I think the face is the best index of mind. So there,
Yeah.
the moment I taste it, you can see it, and therefore, it's a reflexive of that. But also, when you actually ship this out to your customers, right? Do you also have a mechanism where you, get the feedback, Nitya? I mean, is there any way that you get the
Yeah,
feedback?
there is. So there is, so if you see our own website, there is a way to actually get feedback. And my very tiny but very enthusiastic team, through that software we do send SMSs
Okay.
and WhatsApp, and connect with, if it's a one time client, we do try and sort of convert it. Sometimes one may not, because if someone suddenly shifted abroad or become vegan, for
Mhm.
example, that happens. So may not suddenly, not every customer converts, but yes, there is, I would say, almost every. And at the same time, you also don't want to be stalking the customer, so you don't want to bombard him with too much. But I firmly believe that instead of sending those regular messages and emailers, which have become like a blind spot for us, because I mean, how many do we get every day, right? So, our customer care phone number is, and I think 4,000 is still manageable. I don't
Right.
know how we are going to resolve this problem when we become, hopefully 40,000 customers. I mean, we'll have to have some way of maintaining that connect. But right now, a lot of it's still a sort of a personal thing. We have four people who just do direct contacts with clients, and clients love to have long chats. But the
Absolutely.
thing is, you need to have the patience and the time to actually have those kind of chats. So that's why we have four people who only do, and this is we associate with an agency called Brand Mela, Dr. Chaudhary, since you're asking, and they actually do on ground activation and CRM management in the back end. So we have them, and they actually do this for us.
And other related question, Nitya, in this regard, is that if let's say some of your customers, maybe one family
Yeah.
from out of your entire list of customers, they want to be on your farm, just want to be there for 5-6 hours observing how this is all made. Would you be interested in
So that
hosting
has
it?
happened. In fact, a customer from, I think, Surat, because Vikramgarh is halfway from Bombay to Surat. They were driving down, and they were repeat. I think 4 or 5 times they had bought, and they said, "We are driving down. Can we just stop
Very good.
by?" So while we were not really there, the farm manager was there. But I did warn them. I said, and this was sometime last year. I said, "It's raining so badly." But I mean, if you want, because it is right inside. It's very, very deep inside Palghar. But they happened to just go there for about a couple of hours, and I
That
think their
actually
car
makes
broke down or something. But anyway, I mean, all that. So yeah, yeah. Of course, if there are some
uh,
people who want to just do a day visit or something, it's a small farm, Dr. Chaudhary. So weather conditions are. I mean, it's boiling hot right now. So yeah, I mean, it's more than fine if someone wants to come once in a while and just take a look. Why not? It's a
Great.
nice experience.
I know. I think it's a matter of building that authenticity even more.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, the other question is from Mr. Mahesh Bangera. His question is, what leads from leadership role to entrepreneurship, and what's your experience after leadership level job to entrepreneurship? How your experience in past with different industries to your current role? Thank you, Mahesh.
Thank you. So I think really appreciate those 22, 23 years in media, because that has, I think, taught beautifully how to actually prioritize, look at marketing, look at sales. I mean, all those are hygiene things, but I think the one big thing is experience in any business. I think very easily can translate into any other business or any other segment. So that experience comes in handy. The other bit that comes in very handy is your own network and connections. You realize that when you step out of media and go into FMCG as a space, and you actually realize how well connected you are, and how forthcoming uh, your ex colleagues and friends. I mean, there may be people you've not spoken to in 8 10 years, but they immediately are more than willing to help, to give their contacts. It could be as simple as like how someone here said that, I am into logistics, can we explore? I'm saying each one is a potential, and may not be your consumer, but may help you in a whole lot of other ways. So I think my biggest learning from these 23 years, of course, other than the sales and marketing and a discipline aspect of work life, is the contacts that I've made. And never before have I appreciated it the way I do now. So that's taken us a long way.
Thank you, Nitya. This is a question from Ms. Ramanjali. It's a simple question. What marketing strategy do you find most effective for reaching new customers?
I would say very clearly for a product like ours is actually giving them a sample, and that cannot be done in any other way but the classical way, which I had said. But it is not scalable beyond a point. I mean, you cannot give 1 billion samples, for example, or 2 3 lakh samples. However, what you can do, and what we have done also, is through Amazon, through our own website, etc., we have sample packs. So I would say the marketing strategy for actually inviting newer and newer customers is to actually give out small sample packs on your website. It may not be free. So you
Mhm.
can say, courier charges 80 rupees, or try our 100 ml. So give them really small packs and let them try it, and then let them convert. So I think that works very well, because and price it really attractive, so
Mhm.
that then they come back to the next pack and try more of it. So I would say pretty much that.
Thank you. And maybe I hope we are not overshooting. Maybe I'll take with your permission another two questions if that's
Sure.
okay with you. Yeah. So this is a question from Mr. Trinavakarisu, and his question is quite long. I think it's a good suggestion from his side. What do you feel the difficulties when you start the peanut oil? If you see there are good market for the native oil, but the middle level market attraction always compares with refined oil versus native oil.
Hmm.
I'm been investigating this business to start with since from last couple of years, but
Hmm.
I'm not convinced to start this due to finances. So,
Hmm.
I want to know more about how did you build this confidence level to build clients as well as the market? Thank you, Trinav. I'm sure you'll find that way.
So I think specific to oils, and you are so bang on, when you say that, and I'm telling you, the oils is a lot tougher than ghee, because and I think rightly so, the FSSAI and the government and the governing bodies, there's so much adulteration in that segment, that they are very strict about it. So you can't. So even for us, you will not see oil in my website portfolio right now. It is something that we want to launch, but the reason is that you need to have your own lab inside your own farm to
Mhm.
actually do this. So you're Absolutely right, sir. When you're saying, the oil is something that I will have to remarket, because if I keep making the oil in the farm, I will never get permission to sell it on e-commerce or on my site, because you need a testing facility where you invest about 5 to 6 lakhs on that kind of machinery. And while that's how the government has planned it, you can always resell, you can tie up with some, but I don't want to do that. I want that we make it on our own, because then you're in control of the quality. If you're just going to buy it from someone and then just resell it and just put your tag and your white labeling, so it is a catch 22. We are trying to figure that out, and I think I've had some 5 or 6 conversations with FSSAI guys. But oil is a challenge. Olive oil, mustard, coconut, and sesame. Huge issues to get permission on this. And it's best that you get your permits first and then do this, because otherwise you'll just get caught on the wrong foot and just.
Thank you. And this is last but one question. Maybe I'll just after this, I'll have one perspective from one of the gentlemen. And this question is from Mr. Ashwin Nitya. And his question is, hi Nitya, there are many expensive products which are good, will be familiar for some time in the market. But if you actually see those products will be out of market in a matter of time, people change their minds quickly when they see something new with the similar value proposition. Market like India will always give competition immediately. What will be your idea to withstand in the market for a long run? Thank you, Ashwin.
Thank you. So, this is like how you have restaurants which suddenly come up and then, change overnight. Suddenly something else comes up. Yes, that happens. And I'm not going to be in denial of that. But I'll tell you what, and I think our USP is extremely, extremely strong, and I will keep playing on that, only because you're right. I mean, A2 ghee, there are some 40, 50 brands, right? And some may survive, some may do very well, some may just shut down. I think, and we have actually tried about 30 to 40 of these at home. When we started, we actually ordered some 30, 40, because we had to know what competition was and how they are priced and how they taste, etc., etc. Believe me, and I'm not boasting about it, it really sets us apart. And that is why I keep saying that quality has to be maintained. Yes, you're right, maybe beyond the point we can't scale up, maybe we'll have to remain small. I mean, but that's not my idea. I obviously want to scale up. You need, I think, just some sort of a conviction to make sure. Plus, you have to keep expanding. So you have to keep expanding into newer markets. You have to expand your portfolio. Today, I'm a brand. Tomorrow, I may want to be an e-commerce platform myself. So my business has to keep evolving over time, because if I just stick to this and I keep saying ghee all the time, I could actually be putting all my eggs in one basket, and that may not really be a good thing to do. So I have to expand my portfolio. In fact, maybe I should be an e-commerce platform, because if I can sell on other platforms, why can't I be an Amazon myself eventually?
Absolutely.
Saying there's nothing that stops you from that, because then I can have other superfoods which are on my platform, and one can actually buy things that I don't manufacture, actually belongs to some other company, which actually comes is bought through my site. So I think it's constantly evolving, and there are no right answers to this. I don't know if after 5 years we may be supreme, and or we may just remain where we are. You're right about that, because I think India, I mean, that way people can be very fickle. There are so many new things. You keep wanting to experiment. But can I tell you this? When it comes to ghee, actually people don't want to experiment, because it is so traditional.
I know.
And that's why I was telling someone this. We don't target joint families. For example, if you ask me, one TG which actually doesn't buy us is the joint family. Because in the joint family, it's the grandmother or the mother or someone in the extended family who's actually making it. And like I said, that is my competitor. That grandmother or the mother is actually my competitor. So joint family is very difficult to break.
Thank you, Nitya. I think that completes. I'm sorry, we couldn't accommodate all the questions, although there are quite a few, but more or
Sure.
less, I think, right. And thank you so much for sharing with us your very inspiring and very wonderful journey. I
Thank
think
you
this
so
is
much.
a very interesting trend that we get to see. I think starting with Falguni Nair, right? I think that she has set the pace for the so-called second career. I think while she has done for her very good for herself, I think what that story also resonates very well with the rest of the Indians, especially who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs at different age and stage of a career. But I think this one is a phenomenal good because what we get to hear from you is that it's very well thought out and very very well grounded. And I think more than anything else, I think it's driven with passion. I'm sure that's going to be seen in the form of business results in the months and years to come. And I'm sure you'll have already have seen some helpline from some of these people. I'm sure they will reach out to you very soon, and in our own way we'll be more than happy to do everything that we can to support this one. But thank you so much for your time, and also please convey our regards to your daughter, your dad, and especially mom for giving
Yes.
us this wonderful recipe. Actually,
Sure, sure.
I think that should pass on to generations. Thank you so
It's
much.
been a delight. Thank you so much for having me. My
Thank
pleasure.
thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Dr. Chod.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.